The people who are reviewing RE4 Remake did not care about, play, or have any love for the original.
I never played the original Resident Evil 4.
I didn't remember beating the original Resident Evil 4.
We remember nothing.
So brand new game for us.
Into it now, somebody who never played all the way through the original Resident Evil 4. This game fucking rocks.
I've never played Resident Evil 4. I've actually only played 7 and 8.
Every single reviewer is saying the exact same thing while simultaneously saying nothing. I seriously have felt like I've been going crazy watching reviews.
Resident Evil 4 Remake is one of the best games I've played in my life. I don't quite know how to properly review it.
To then go on and have a remake that is somehow able to not only make the game better, but also feel fresh and new.
We are all now playing the Resident Evil 4 Remake and feeling that same sense of awe and wonder we did.
That is what the RE4 Remake is. An achievement. A standard raiser. An experience that's made with so much love and attention to detail and respect for the people playing it.
A unique Resident Evil game. It was that the changes, most of them, felt like something or someone was sitting next to me when I complained about anything in the original game. I was like, you know what? If that helps to make it better, we should change it.
Resident Evil 4 never needed a remake.
Yep!
The Resident Evil 4 Remake has been host to one of the most blatant shill campaigns I have ever witnessed online. This game is seemingly immune to any and all criticism, and I have yet to see anything but blind honeymoon phase positivity towards this game from almost every YouTuber. Even ones that address flaws still give the game scores close to 9 out of 10, which is ridiculous. What's even more ridiculous is the hive-minded criticisms of this game. People only seem to focus on bits and pieces which have been deemed socially acceptable. For example, the general consensus, which was started by a certain is that the Ada Wong voice actress is bad, when in reality almost all of the voice acting in this game is god-awful. The best example of this is the Merchant.
Welcome. What can I interest you in? Oh, you cut through the crowd with that right there. Molding a weapon to suit your try that on for size.
This may not seem so bad, but when you compare it to the original and how much of a cultural icon the Merchant was, it's completely soulless and unacceptable.
Got a selection of good things on sale, stranger. What are you selling? What are you buying? Is that all, stranger? Thank you.
Leon also has modernized dialogue, which includes him swearing a lot and generally poor delivery, although this was to be expected from the Resident Evil 2 Remake's poor delivery of dialogue. At the very least, Leon's lines in Resident Evil 2 Remake were corny and funny with how bad they were. Now it's just cringe.
God damn. Fuck. Shit. I'm sunk in this wreck. I don't think the boat can take another hit like that. God damn. Shit. Give my regards to your god. Roost, come in. Things went to shit. Adios, you son of a bitch. Go to hell, you rusty piece of shit. Shit. Shit, can't get through the armor. Fuck, not good.
This new and improved Leon wears COVID masks and cat ears. Great work, Capcom. Visually speaking, this game is a complete mess. Every single model in this game appears to be scanned in with little to no polish. Shouts out to Capcom for scanning in the Sphere Hunter as Ashley's face model in this game, as well as somehow getting Hillary Clinton to play Salazar. A lot of people have been saying this game is comparable to the RE2 Remake visually. However, RE2 Remake has some extremely impressive visuals, as well as having an in-depth gore system. These systems do not return in the RE4 Remake. It seems as though they learned nothing from RE2 and are just rehashing the controls and the gameplay from RE3 again, with little to no graphical, technological, or gameplay updates. If you'd like to see how much of a downgrade the visuals are, I will compare them side by side. I think the comparison will speak for itself.
Running effortlessly and beautifully on Capcom's Space Age RE engine. Space Age RE engine. Space Age RE engine.
A standard razor.
What the hell?
A standard razor.
Space Age RE engine.
Capcom fanboys and Resident Evil 4 Remake fanboys are completely delusional if they think that these models are looking good at all. They are dope smokers and Instagram thoughts that have been scanned into their game. Enough is enough. These face scans look horrible and they have the nerve to charge $60 for this game? This is ridiculous.
Now though, she resembles a real person. Probably because she's actually modeled after one, and let's all just take a moment to appreciate Capcom's insanely talented casting department.
The animations of the guns also fall short of a game that was made 20 years ago. Obtaining the shotgun in the original and then using it is monumental as it demonstrates both the power and crowd control ability of the pump. Its animation has power and weight to it. All enemies in your path stagger, including the big chainsaw man. In the remake, you get a puff of smoke and it feels like the enemies hardly even stagger. Even the Resident Evil 2 remake got this correct with the shotguns. One of the most important features of the original's gameplay was the laser as a stock on all weapons. The laser is fundamental to the snappy, quick, and satisfying aiming and gameplay of the original. Now, you have to pay to get the laser as an upgrade and use the crosshairs. This combined with the rework to the knife system leads me to believe that the developers of this game had no love for the original's gameplay.
And it's obvious because this game plays nothing like the original.
On the topic of gameplay changes, one of the main attractions to the remake's gameplay is that you can move and shoot. However, I don't see how this was ever a problem in the original. The original's entire game was designed around its controls and gunplay, which is why it's so satisfying and timeless. Moving and shooting was never an issue in the original, as the entire game is balanced around not being able to move and shoot.
I believe that the guns were nerfed because moving and shooting was added to the game, even though it's a single player game and it should try to make the player feel as powerful as possible. The enemies have also been changed to run around behind you, grab you, and lock you in a full Nelson while you perform a mashing QTE. This would be acceptable if this was something that happened rarely, but it is a core function of how the villagers attack you, and it is an extremely annoying feature. Being punished is one thing, but being forced to mash out is obnoxious, and I thought Capcom stated that they were trying to eliminate the QTEs and eliminate the mashing. Ashley's health has been removed, and now her health only exists in 3 states: incapacitation, being captured, and what I'll call being normal. Once again, limiting the amount of mistakes that can be made during gameplay. In the original, you were forced to use the environment to avoid damage on Ashley. This is especially noticeable in the Chainsaw Twins fight. While the gameplay with Ashley was flawed, this remake could have taken the opportunity to expand upon it further and improve it. Instead, it was completely gutted and simplified in favor of an invincible LE copy-paste from The Last of Us. It is obvious that the developers of this game took significantly more inspiration from the likes of The Last of Us than the original RE4. I ask you to please be objective and compare the footage shown. What does the Resident Evil 4 remake look more like? The gameplay footage of The Last of Us 2, down to the interface, the UI, and the dialogue, or the original Resident Evil 4? The inventory management has been completely simplified and overhauled. Once again, another feature gutted in favor of crafting. The auto sort is a complete insult to the player's intelligence and holds your hand. I often see people say that the story has been improved from the original. The story of the original was simple, not bad, but now it has been rewritten to give the Los Plagas and the Los Illuminados cult religious undertones.
Give my regards to your god.
Soul requires cleansing. Abandon your body to the will of our God. Oh, Almighty, grant me the strength to crush your enemies.
You're a shitty missionary.
God, I thank you for your gift. Behold, Demir, you heretic.
When day breaks, you too will join our covenant to share in my holy blessing. Deliver unto them salvation. My faithful disciple will show her the path. Deliver to these vagrant children their salvation. I am Osman Sadler, the speaker for our Lord.
This rewriting completely killed the Big Cheese, who is my personal scariest character in the original game. He went from being mysterious and creepy into an orthodox Jewish rabbi. What's funny about these rewrites is that they still don't even bother to expand upon both Salazar and Sadler's characters in any meaningful way.
The only thing that's happened is their charm has been completely removed.
Resident Evil 4 has been described as the entry in the series which changed it from being a survival horror to an action game. It's true. By the time you reach the island, the game does turn into a full-on action game, aside from segments with the regenerator. However, I think that it's completely ignoring something that's very important about Resident Evil 4. The original Resident Evil 4 had an extremely well-crafted atmosphere. The cultists in the castle give an unnerving chant, and it is very stressful. In the remake, the lines are delivered poorly while music is blasted in the background, much like a shitty, modern movie.
Muerte. Ahí está, matando.
As a matter of fact, the entire soundtrack is bad. It's extremely generic and forgettable. The only way this could have been worse is if they changed the soundtrack to have jungle beats. The developers failed to understand that less is more when it comes to ambiance, as your brain fills in the gaps. One of the most egregious parts about this remake is the microtransactions. The original game on the GameCube offered Assignment Ada and Mercenaries Day 1. I am not speaking about separate ways. In the remake, you can pay for gun upgrades, pay for the soulful old music, pay for treasure maps, as well as costumes and guns. Counting purchasing the remake itself, this will cash out at a total of $81.80. This is all Day 1 DLC.
You paid $60 for this game and did not get the full content.
I did not want to copy-paste of Resident Evil 4 again, and I think that there are a few things that should have at the very least been done to meet my expectations of what a remake should be. First of all, we had to wait for 2 weeks for Mercenaries to come out, and they had cut characters in it when it did come out. I expected the gameplay and graphics to at least be better, but they were not. I expected the annoying parts such as QTEs and button mashing to be removed like they were promised, but they weren't, and they were instead amplified. Things that could have been reworked were instead removed, such as the U3 boss fight. I wanted more guns and more ways to play the game, which I guess was somewhat fulfilled, but not in a way that made sense. I wish that there was co-op as there was in RE5 and RE6, and I'm surprised that I'm the only one who's ever mentioned this. I was hoping for more unlockables and more treasure in general, as well as different paths to take. Think about stuff like the El Gigante and the Chainsaw Twins.
I am so tired of seeing people shit on RE3 but don't shit on RE4 when they are just as bad. Actually, I think RE4 is worse. The only explanation for this is that people are shilling. I'd also like to conclude this by saying that I'm going to call it now as a Nostradamus moment, that it's really only a matter of time before the Sphere Hunter gets put into a Resident Evil game. He's been to Capcom HQ, and it's pretty likely that they probably already have a full body and face scan of him in the game. We're going to get a full body scan of him down to that pathetic little waste of flesh between his legs. As a final score, I'm going to give the game a 3.5. If you like this game, you're a shill probably. If you like this game, just go play The Last of Us. If you shit on RE3 or shit on The Last of Us 2 but like this game, you're a shill. It sucks, it's trash, and it's soulless. That's the end.
I totally want to suck some black cock. Just saying.